Hello everyone, welcome to There Be Toys. I got a delivery in the mail the other day, came from Amazon. I pre-ordered this for what seemed like ages ago. It was like March, it was like the beginning of the year. And it is the new Hasbro Princess Leia Vintage Collection action figure. She's in her traditional white Senate gown. We've seen tons of merchandise of her wearing this outfit. We've got a lot of action figures, but this one is different in that the hood is a separate removable plastic piece. Now normally a lot of the figures that came out of her in the past, either there was no hood or it was sculpted on or it was something that was soft goods. So this is a little bit different in that they added this piece that you could take on and off. So as soon as I saw that, I wanted to get it. It really looks cool. The sculpt looks really good. And it looks like Hasbro's giving us like the original crew again. Like we're getting a new Luke, we're getting a new Obi-Wan, new Chewie. Of course, the Cantina is coming out. It did get funded, it's back. So they want everybody who goes with that. I know they're doing a whole Return to Tatooine campaign, so I'm not sure what they're going to be giving us, but obviously they're going to want to give us everything that has to do with Tatooine, the Cantina, the aliens, hopefully. So when I saw that, I thought, okay, I think I could get more interested in this again. It's been so long. I've been catching up on, you know, Black Series and other things as well. There's just been so many other things coming out, so I hadn't really had any desire to collect any of the 3 1/4 inch figures anymore, not from Vintage Collection. I can't believe it's been that long. So I was on the fence, do I open this, do I not open it? But I'm definitely going to open it. It's been so long since I've had a Vintage Collection figure, and they weren't even Vintage Collection back then. My gosh, they were still called Black Series. If you remember, there were like the little Black Series, and then there were the 6-inch Black Series. It was very confusing. Nobody understood like what was going on, but the Black Series back then were what we know as the Vintage Series now. So let's take a look at this new figure. I'm also going to be comparing this to some of the other figures of her that have come out in the past in the white Senate gown as well.
This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
All right, so let's take a look. I had to put the old man glasses on because I need to see all of the detail, but my gosh, she looks so good. Here she is in package, and she looks really good. I mean, so far from what I can see, I'm really pleased with the sculpt of it. It just looks really good. You see, it's the old vintage style card back that's just like the original figure from 1978. Now, I know people have said there's some sort of ring, some sort of like distortion on the card. It was something like it looked, and I saw it. It's like it's maybe something was removed, something like got stuck to it. Maybe there was a sticker or something. And it is on mine. I do see it. It was the first thing I noticed, and it was also kind of the reason I thought, well, I'll just open it then. That's fine. But it is there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to get a close-up of that. All right, so let's open it and see what she looks like. Okay, I think that's enough. I think that was relatively painless. Let's see, though. Let's see. I'll say this, only because I noticed it now. This, a very sturdy card. A very sturdy card. I know with the retro collections, they're like thin little pieces of paper. This is a really sturdy card. So right off the bat, if you're looking to leave these on the card and you don't have the Ring of Death, then this is going to be good. I'm noticing that now as I'm trying to open this. There she is. It comes with her regular blaster, this like thin one. It looks very small. And then the bigger Stormtrooper blaster. Don't think she is clipped in there or stuck in there with anything. They do that sometimes with some figures. There she is. Oh, she looks really good. Gosh, she looks so small, you know, like of course she's smaller in stature. They try to keep with that. So that is true to character. But I guess it's been so long since I've even opened up a Vintage Collection figure. The real feature, of course, being this hood piece, which is immediately what I want to do. That is the look that I want. So I'll get close-ups of all these, but You can see it's just a little rubbery piece. I always get weird about the little rubbery pieces of things because sometimes they degrade, they turn color, but these days I know they try to fix it so that it doesn't do that. So there's this other piece here, and you've got to take that off in order to put the other one on, you see. There's a little peg hole in the back here, so you can leave it where this is where her hood would normally be. But you would take that off and you would put this on, and it just stays on there pretty well. There's no snap fit or anything. And it covers the hole that's in the back. And there it is. Oh, it looks so good. I can't believe how detailed they're getting the face, the eyes and stuff, that it's so, so small. But it looks so much better. And they didn't do a cloth goods skirt. It is plastic. So she's got the, what seems like standard joints, like rotating shoulders, elbows. And joints are a little tight. I'm afraid to move them. They seem so small. Those elbow joints don't really want to move for me. So I'm just not gonna mess with them after waiting this long. Swivels a little at the waist. Looked like she went up and down. There was like a picture of her with R2. And I thought maybe she bent down a little, but I'm not feeling that. She got peg holes. She's articulated at the ankles and at the knees. I think I'll take out the Stormtrooper gun only because it's the bigger one. Let's see. Looks like both her hands can hold this. I'll put it in her right, and yes, it does. Oh, do the wrists move? Yes, the wrists do move as well. So you can get some pretty good posability out of this. So now that we've got this, let me put her little pieces back. So we don't lose those. Let's do a little comparison to some of the other Leias that have come out, the other Senate gown Leias. Here she is. This was from way back, the CommTech chips, if you remember that. And this is hood up, but it's sculpted on. You can't take that off. And she had this soft goods skirt. And looking at it now, I mean, my gosh, the way they are improving the portraits, of course, there's way more articulation. The details, they're able to get smaller and smaller. It's just incredible. It's so incredible to see the difference of these now. Now here is one of my favorite ones, although I don't know that most people really like this collection, but it was the Princess Leia Collection from way back. I think this was 97 or 98. And I bought all of them. One of them I got two. I think all of them I got two except for one. I can't remember now. But I just loved these. And it was just so happy to see them giving Leia that kind of attention when it came to merchandise. The thing that was different about this was it was fully cloth goods. This one was the exception to the other ones. There was this one released from A New Hope. She was released with Luke, and then there was a Bespin one. She was released with Han. That was supposed to be from Empire Strikes Back. And then there was one of her with Wicket the Ewok, and she was in her Endor ceremonial dresses, as they call it, or the Ewok dress. And these were different in that they were supposed to be, or at least what was said, advertised to girls. They were supposed to be more aimed toward girls. I don't think that happened. I don't think that worked at all. It didn't seem to fly off the shelves or anything like that. So it's become this sort of like odd one-off collection for her. But I'm glad that they did it because it gave us some new sculpts. Some of the original sculpts were not that nice, and you're going to see that in a minute. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. So this kind of made it a little more feminine, I guess you could say. I mean, I don't know. I would argue that they looked fine anyway, and we still all collected them, so there was no reason to really do that. But it was different in that it was cloth goods, and I think this was the first for these, other than maybe capes or something like that. And this one is the only one that doesn't have hair. The other ones had, they weren't rooted hair, but they were little pieces of hair. So you could kind of try to put the hood up on this one. Doesn't really want to stay, but you could. And so that was what she looked like way back in 98 or 97. And it was actually, it was a pretty good one. I really like this. This is my favorite. I keep it under wraps because I've seen some of the other ones people have online. They're filthy. I don't know what you're doing with them, but they're filthy. Now here's one I sort of forgot about. This one was called All New Likeness Leia. And there was a reason for that, and we'll get into that in a minute. But this was a newer version of her dress like this that came out. And you see she's kind of stuck in position with that gun pose. There really was not a lot of articulation back in the day. We all know that very well. I honestly don't mind it. When it kind of came to these weird fixed poses, I do, because they got kind of wacky. Like there were some of them, especially after like when Attack of the Clones came out, and they were all in like weird frozen positions. It just looked kind of weird. So if you didn't pose her with the gun, and it just looked strange. But here she is, side by side, with the brand new vintage collection. And she had this hood, and I'm gonna see if that hood piece looks at all the same. It really kind of does. It looks like it's almost the same length and everything. They always had a issue with her face and with them buns on the side of her head. It looks so big. It looks like a football. You could see it from here. Like it looks gigantic. They really didn't know just how to make them, so they didn't stick so far out that they look like weird ears or something, you know. But it's so amazing to see. I mean, even the length of the dress, it looks like they've got more correct on this new one. The sleeves, just the way the sleeves fall and everything. The color too, like just the color of the skin. Everything. I mean, everything is such a huge improvement from what we got originally. But here we go, everyone. Here's what I'm sure you were waiting to see. The infamous Leia next to this one. Infamous for a big reason. She looked very strange to a lot of people. In fact, it gave her the nickname Monkey Face Leia. And when they started releasing new figures, these were called Power of the Force 2. Power of the Force 1 being the ones that were released in the 70s and 80s. When they released these, it was a little before the special editions were coming out. I would say it was like 95, 96, somewhere around there. They made them with these upper bodies that were like superheroes. And I guess they thought was they wouldn't sell, like superheroes were bigger and Star Wars was just old news. And so they made them with these weird upper body strength superhero poses. It was very strange. But, you know, they're sought after now. I mean, people do like them, but I know the face is weird on this one. I know she looks like that character from Fifth Element. I know she does. I know everybody points to that. There's this character that was kind of a little parody, and this is kind of what it looks like. It's really kind of funny. But I didn't think it was that awful. I don't know. I didn't think it was the worst. You know, we've seen worse. We've seen worse than this before and since, right? So I didn't think it was the worst, but it's just so clunky. Like again, this is where soft goods come, I guess, in handy. She never had this huge cape, number one. Now, when you see her on like the posters and stuff, which is I guess is what they were kind of going for, that original poster, yes, she does have that sort of cape, and I would love to see sort of an updated version of that. I know they've done like concept art things, the Ralph McQuarrie collection. I would love to see something based on that poster that's much more accurate. but this just weighed her down. And then she had this skirt that just didn't do anything. It's just like it was always like falling off and stuff. And I know so many people have like lost it, and it just kind of went around. It's just like one piece of like bell bottom or something. And this was supposed to be the skirt, and so it doesn't stay on. This I got the original of this, and if you know, you know. There were different versions of these that came out. It was such a pain. There were a lot of variants that came out. And if you were part of this collecting at this time, then you know it. But there's a Princess Leia that had three bands on this silver belt. And again, if you know, you know kind of thing. But that was part of the original run because they did re-release them. They did remake this figure in particular and put it on a different card back later on. And that was like a second run, a second pressing, if you will. And so the original has specific details that are different. And I think a lot of the other characters like that too from that first run of back in 95, 96. And so those kind of went for a bit more money because they were the originals of that Nouveau Star Wars collection. This is not that one, but I do have it. Luckily, I remember hearing about it way back then, and I checked and like, oh my God, please, please. And it is. It's that three-band belt Leia, whatever it is. But I have a lot of those still in the original packaging. I just didn't open them. I some of them. This is back when I used to buy two. I can't do that anymore. I can't buy one to keep and one to open unless it's something I really love and it's rare. Then maybe I'll do that. But I haven't done that in quite a long time. But back then I did. So I don't even know how many I have that are like doubles or duplicates. That stopped a long time ago. I can't be doing that anymore. So here is, well, not the OG, but technically the OG, the reproduction. This is the Leia Retro Collection figure, and it is an exact reproduction of the original figure from 1978. Now, I do have my figure from 78 back at home somewhere. She's missing the cape. She's a little yellowed, but I do have it, and I still have my original figures from back in the day. And man, I can't even tell you. Just looking at the difference of these two. I mean, it's so drastic. It's just, the original figure is like this hunk of plastic, and it looks almost like the little kids' toys now, like the Little People or that kind of thing. So it's amazing to see just how far it's come. That all the little detail, all the little things that they could do now. I mean, it's just like a night and day difference when you look at it. And I'm sure somebody out there will put their original 78 figure side by side, but for right now, this is the best I can do. But you can obviously see the difference here. I mean, it's just incredible. And I can't even explain what it was like to collect these or get these back then. We weren't really collecting. I mean, we were, but we were playing with them. I mean, I played with all my figures. It was just such an amazing time. It's so hard to explain. We didn't know anything better than this. I mean, these were amazing to us. These were the best things in the absolute world to us back then. And I know like G.I. Joe kind of kicked it off. They were a little bit different, but I think Star Wars is what really put action figures and figure collecting on the map for sure. I think we all think that, honestly. It's an obvious thing right now. It just changed everything. But people who see these figures now that are so detailed might look at these and be like, why did anybody like them? Who cares? They look terrible. And I know a lot of people don't like the retro collection, but I mean, we loved these. These were just like the best thing in the world back then. That's what we had. We didn't have anything else really. This is what they looked like. So I do have something else that I want to show. Now, I'm not going to be opening this one, but this is a re-release of Princess Leia Senate Gown in Black series. Now, this was a special release that she was on this card that you see. And this came out in 2018 to celebrate the 40th anniversary of A New Hope. I can't believe we're working on the 50th now. And this is the second version of this Leia that they released. Now, they did one before. It's the same. But the face sculpt, the reaction to it was really, really poor. People did not like it. But they released it. I mean, it did come out, and again, she kind of looked like that Fifth Element character. She just looked a little strange. It didn't look like Carrie Fisher. The face was off. So they re-released her on this card and in a box with the new face sculpt, and that was way, 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 way better. So I had gotten that, and I thought, well, I'm just never going to open that. What am I going to do? I can't open that because you're paying for that card. I mean, that's what's so like infuriating about some of these cards. Sometimes, like now, especially with the price has gone up and you have it on a special card, you're paying for that card. You're paying for it to stay on that card. Like, why open it? It's crazy. I was able to get the archive series, and it is this figure. So I had never opened it, and I really wanted to. So I thought, well, why not? I'll just open this one, and I'll keep this one on card. So let's open this one. Here she is. Now, she might be clipped in. I'm not sure. She might be stuck in there, but there she is. Oh, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to open this one. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought I heard they're doing another Black Series Leia in the Senate gown. I'm not sure if I'm hearing that correctly. If they're just re-releasing this, or are they doing a brand new sculpt? Like, what's the deal? I don't know if this has that facial printing on it. I thought it did, but maybe it didn't. There she is. She is in a full cloth goods outfit. Again, some people like that, some people hate it. I think for something like this, you kind of need that. Again, you can sort of make it where the hood goes on. That does not look very good at all. It just does not look right. So that doesn't work for me. I don't know about for you. Joints seem pretty loose to me. I think there is bicep swivel. The outfit is not hemmed, so you could get a lot of little pieces. Yeah, the elbow is so loose. Holy cow. That is one very, very, very loose joint. I don't know if I can fix that, but it just kind of wobbles. The other one is tight, and I can't move it. Let's see. Yeah, that one is too tight, or it's backwards, maybe. Yes, it is backwards. And there we go. It's kind of loose, too. Got articulation at the knees, double jointed. Those are pretty good. There's ankles. Those are kind of tight. Very thin material. And honestly, this might be a good one to re-release full plastic, honestly. It's just it's very thin, flimsy material. And the joints, like my arm is not going to want to stay up. It's so loose. Well, we've come really far since these days, because I none of my Black Series are that bad. They're all actually really good. This is probably the one with the loosest, worst joints out of all the ones that I have so far. I've got a few, not a lot, but I do have a few. But I just wanted to open it just because I can. That's why I wanted to do it. And I forgot to mention, I got this on like mega sale. It was like $10. So I thought, well, why not? I'll get it. So then to compare her with this new one, after seeing this one, I'm down for a new Black Series Senate gown. I am. I'm like, why would they need to do that? And honestly, yeah, I think it needs a whole new sculpt. Get rid of this flimsy material. These loose joints are just killing me. Like, I agree now. So anxiously going to await to give her one of her pistols if I can get it in there. Of course, I don't want to be rough with the hand. I don't know if it fits in there. Oh, there we go. Kind of have to do it from the side, I guess. This joint is so loose, you might need both hands to hold this gun. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now, I did have another, there was another figure that I have somewhere. I can't find it, but I know I've got it. And it was the R2 CommTech figure that came with a tiny little blue holographic Leia. And she's got the hood up. She's just a standard little one piece of plastic. Don't know where that is. I never opened it. I'm going to leave it in the box. So I have no clue where it is now, but I was going to show it. But I guess you could count that, right? I guess you could count that as Senate gown. Now, I'm sure this is not all of them. I know I had one that I sold. It kind of looked like this one. It looked sort of like this new Likeness Leia. And she had the hood up. And that was why I got it, because I'm like, oh, I think that was the first figure that had the hood up, I think. And it was a Nouveau early bird figure set that came out in like 2004 or something like that, 2005. And I did get it, and I just didn't like how it looked. I kind of wish I didn't get rid of it now. I wish I kept it. But I just was like, meh. And I didn't keep it, and I sold them. So I regret it a little bit. I know that there was another one. There was like a metal one or something like that. And then there was one with Leia and Luke, and it was like the swing, the swing on the Death Star or whatever. And that was fixed into position. And I had that, and I think I sold that too, because I didn't like it. Was like, they were like dioramas almost. You couldn't really do anything with the figures. So it was just like you had to just display it. There was no reason to open them. And if you open them, it just was weird. You couldn't really do anything with it. So all of those I kind of got rid of, because I just wasn't as interested in them once I had them. So I'm sure I'm missing a couple of these Leia figures in the white Senate gown. And for some reason I didn't know what it was called. I'm sure I knew, but I'm like, what is the white gown called? I know it's called something. It's not called the Death Star gown. What is it? And I'm like, oh, the Senate gown, of course. Like, what's, or the political gown, it was called in the script. But I think they call it the Senate gown officially, or something like that. And she's not called anything. She's just called Princess Leia when you see her like this, or Princess Leia from A New Hope. But she is in another outfit later on, and that's called Yavin Princess Leia. So I'm like, well, this one gotta have a name. Why am I not remembering? And it was the Senate gown. All right, everyone, that is gonna do it. Let's just take a group shot. Let's do a group shot of all the Leias together. Have you ever seen so many Leias in your life? I don't know if I can get them all, but look at them all. I mean, this isn't even all of them. Isn't that crazy to think? This is just but a few of the Princess Leias that have come out in the Senate gown, plus the Black series. And there's even more coming out, so I guess we'll see what that one's going to look like. But so many Leias, what can you do? Thank you all for joining me. I plan to do a couple more videos with all these Leia figures. I have a whole bunch of them, and there's a couple more that I did want to open, so I'll do an unboxing of them. And I think they're really going to be doing a whole lot more once the 50th anniversary comes. So hopefully we'll get some really good stuff. So I will see you next time.